Well, first week of May is in the books, and we have a new leader. Kyle, how does it feel?
Um, Very temporary. One week.
Very
I think I
temporary.
led like the first. I think I might have led like the first week of the. Oh no, we did. So yeah, I'm not sure. It's. I mean, like it's
Is it
like
lonely at the top?
it is a little. Well, actually, you're positive now. It was a bit for a while. I was the only positive person, so that was coming. But yeah.
That was depressing. I think I checked it as late as Wednesday night, and you were the only person in the green at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this is not going well.
Well, you guys all just are unlucky because you're big. You're like you didn't benefit as much from this cryptocurrency.
Well, so I will say my position in Ethereum that is new is up 75%, and my position in commercial metals is up 11 and a third.
Nice.
So what I sold off from Target is doing quite well, but Bitcoin is still, I guess it's at 58.7 as of this recording. So that's almost as high. I think the highest I've had it is like 60 and a half. So
It's been holding pretty steadily around like this promotion.
yeah, I think it's kind of stuck in this window of like $3,000 or $4,000. It might be time to offload some of it, but yes, you are in first. I see that Kyle has Venmoed me his contribution to the beer money from last month. Thank you, sir. The big news of the week, though, Kyle, you alluded to this last week. You've made quite a few changes to the portfolio. So catch us up. What's the rationale behind the buying and the selling, and what you now have in here?
Are you talking
Yeah, I'm talking to you. You were the one last week who were like, "I've got some big moves coming Monday morning." I'm like, "All right,
Well, I don't
show us
think
what you
it was-
got."
I bought three different types of cryptocurrency that I thought looked good, and I happened to get lucky on all three of them. So okay, so I was looking to buy two. So like I was looking at coins, and so Litecoin and Neo were two coins that were cheap-ish,
Yeah.
but like I had heard about them. So I like basically with cryptocurrency, I have no idea what the value or market cap or any of that has anything to do with how much it's going to be priced at. Basically, it just seems to be what people are interested in buying. So
Yep.
like things that I've heard about potentially, could go up a lot as long as they're still relatively cheap, right? There are potentials for large percentage gains.
Yeah.
So I just looked at coins that were, under a certain value, or so like that kind of ruled out Ethereum for me, even though that would have been a good play over the last week or so. But I
It's
just
been
thought
good.
that maybe it was too high. So Litecoin and Neo, and then I noticed that Ripple at the start of the week dropped to like 130. And
I think
was
it's
not
down at about 150 now. So
Yeah, I wasn't convinced it had been steadily staying around like 158,
Yeah.
160 for a long time. So I figured it was going to go back up to that point. So I bought that too. So those honestly, like I said last month, like feel like you need to buy cryptocurrency to do anything right now in this competition. So I bought some, and so far it's working. But at the same time, like yeah, I'm in the lead right now, but. My like Neo investment already lost. It was up like 17 or 20%.
Okay.
Now it's only up like 8%. So I've already potentially missed some peaks. So we'll see. Long term, I guess like if Ethereum shoots up, I'm sure you'll pass me. Or if Kyle buys a coin that like triples in value overnight, like whatever. Like I mean, Austin got up to what 29% was his max.
I think his highest was like 28 point
Yeah,
something.
28, 29.
Yeah.
I'm at like 2.8, so like it's not like I'm out of reach or anything.
No. His total performance is still 36.5% though. So I'm at 21, so I need to start getting rather aggressive if I'm going to chase him down anyway. Where's the fun if I'm not going to try? But you did mention something interesting. Kyle is now the only person in the competition without any coins or tokens or any of that stuff. So Kyle, are you thinking about it?
Yes. It has legitimately been a thought, but I'm just not not sure where to get in, and then I also don't know like which one of my massive holes to do. I just hold on to the huge losses, or like do I cut the losses and then just go in and then hope a crypto can dig me out?
Yeah. All good questions. All good questions. Let's see.
I guess, what are you considering selling off right now? What would be your choices?
We'll give him some free advice. That's a good call.
I've got a few that are like around 0%. You know, like still like slightly negative, but not super. Like I'm all time I'm up on Starbucks. Like I mean, it's only been a few days into. I mean, yeah. So Starbucks is down like 0.14 for me. Apple's down almost 1%. TSMC is basically 0%.
So are these all-time numbers or numbers for the month?
These are monthly, so
okay.
Really in the grand scheme of things, not huge.
Well, so look at the all-time numbers. Let's look at those.
Yeah, all-time I'm up 15% on Starbucks, so that might be a good one to just take profits off of, like take the gain off of. TSMC I'm down 6.7.
I wouldn't get rid of that right now.
Yeah, Apple's down 2.6. Pinterest and Etsy are so frustrating to watch. I was up like 20% on both of them, and now I'm down 14% on Pinterest and down 18% on Etsy. Like,
wow.
Those are both positions where if you can get a bounce out of them and get relatively close to zero, I personally would be offloading those as soon as I could do it. But
yeah,
you definitely don't want to lock in 18% on any of them.
It's huge.
That's a lot.
Even the last time that it fluctuated, that it bounced up, I was like, maybe I should just get rid of these and then like lock those in.
Yeah.
So I mean, they do tend to go on us like they do tend to. I can't talk. They do tend to bounce. So I'm thinking, yeah, as soon as they come back up, maybe I just take what I can get out of it and then run. But I don't know. I mean, I'm up 11% all time with Home Depot and 16% with Delta. So it's like those two I'd be comfortable. The three Starbucks included, Home Depot and Delta, I'd be pretty comfortable with getting rid of.
As much as I loathe Home Depot for some of their political contributions and stances on things like human rights, given the price of lumber and a lot of other basic commodities, that would be a difficult one to offload because I don't think it's done.
Right.
As much as it pains me to say that. I don't think that one's done. But
and I don't know. For Delta, it's like I'm so unsure of what to do with that one.
I thought we were in the clear. I really thought, okay, vaccines are rolling out, we're going to be good, and then people are like, no, I don't want to get them, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I thought the allure of just being able to do things would draw more people who didn't necessarily believe or trust vaccines to just be like, well, I'll just get one because they're... But I guess maybe the whole idea of being, needing to get one to do things, so it's also off-putting to people. They feel their rights have been quote-unquote infringed, I guess, by this behavior, so...
Yeah, I mean, I understand that for some people it's complicated, but, like... There are a large number of people who have no excuse to not get them. And I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want this to turn into a rant.
Right.
But yes, to the point of airline stock, like I'm looking at Alaska too. I'm up like 38% on Alaska.
Damn.
At what point do I get off that roller coaster? Like, granted, it's been more stable than most. But I do think there's larger market uncertainties that have to be taken into account. Price of fuel is one of them. The more that continues to get expensive, the more airlines have to charge for tickets. And so, yes, there's potentially more profit there, but then there's less people who can afford the tickets, and that becomes a whole thing. And then once we get back into wintertime, do cases peak again because of the cold weather? Like, none of that needs to be addressed now, but there's just some of those more long-term things that do make me keep a closer eye on it than I thought I would probably have to at this point.
Yeah, so right now I'm just like, I feel like Honeywell's actually is pretty good for me too. It's up 13% all time.
Okay.
So
you have some options.
Yeah, so Honeywell might be a good one as well. So I guess right now, Starbucks and Honeywell are probably the two that I'd consider most viable for just getting rid of, like cutting off.
So then the question is, which coins do you buy?
Exactly. I have zero knowledge of crypto.
You and a lot of other people, and yet here we are.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's, man, yeah, I'm not really entirely sure where I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, I have literally zero knowledge. Like, I have not done any research into coins either, so I guess
Okay.
That's probably something that I'm gonna have to spend time doing, like understanding the minimal like knowledge that people have, at least getting maybe some baseline knowledge on that. Because like I highly doubt. Well, I mean, I guess some of like the investing ideas that I've had, like just name recognition, like Bitcoin, but then that's also hella expensive.
I think too that the thing with some of these coins is it's about timing, which I hate to say because trying to time things doesn't usually end well.
Yeah.
But if you can time, even to the nth degree, as small as that may be, some type of wave of consumer demand, right?
Right.
It doesn't take a lot. I mean, Austin had Ripple at 40 cents and it went up $1 something. Like, that's all it takes if you do it right. But of course, the opportunity with coins that cheap is few and far between because there's not a lot of them in that price window that have perceptions of mainstream viability. I do enjoy watching the trials of Doge, but I have a hard time trusting something that started as a joke.
Yeah, the fact that it's like purely just is just a meme. It was started as a meme. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Don't know how much faith I can put in that one, but.
Well, I mean,
I
okay,
don't
so
know. Like I said, like for me, evaluating coins is like how much are people interested in it? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were just talking about.
Especially because like it gets they have like a meme with like a specific price point that like we want to break $1
Yeah.
with Doge, right? Like people specifically targeting $1 to get there.
Yeah, and I mean this aspect of market coordination is a big topic, right? We saw it with GameStop, we saw it with AMC, we see it with coins a lot, but I do think that is a huge part of it. So maybe just keep your ears open and see which one people start talking about next.
Yeah, true.
On the topic of AMC, though, I thought it was very funny. I saw some notes from their earnings call on Thursday, and he made a number of veiled references in the earnings call to the fact that Wall Street Bets had propped up the entire company by purchasing so much of the stock that he basically went on the record. Okay, so here's the quote. This is not a veiled quote. This was towards the end of it. These individual investors likely own a majority of our shares. They own AMC. We work for them, and I work for them. So this is the first well-documented example where a CEO of a company who has been obliterated by COVID is like, I don't care how you prop up or value my company. I'm just happy to still be here. Like, that is their strategy at this point, is if we can pander to Wall Street Bets And if we can pander to investors on Twitter, we might make it.
Nice.
I mean, they've saved a completely failing business model at selling video games. So
Yeah, I mean, they really did. He actually did make some charitable donations to some of the favorite charities of the Wall Street Bets community, too, which I thought was nice. But, like, that's pandering level 1,000. Like, you're all in at that point.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Shareholders are.
He's not wrong.
At this point, it is a bunch of meme investors, but whatever.
Yeah.
Meme investor money is just as good as regular investor
Money is money. I mean, it
turns out
doesn't matter where it comes from.
You don't care where the money came from.
No. The market does not care. I saw, too, where they're going to allow you to, like, order your movie popcorn ahead of time.
Not a bad idea, honestly.
It's not a bad idea. My only thing is, A, it's been so long since I've been to a movie that I honestly don't know how long the line for popcorn normally is. But if the line is only like 2 people, are you really going to take the time and effort to coordinate buying popcorn ahead of time?
I feel like the line is like, because like it's not like the fact that a lot of people are trying to get popcorn, is you gotta wait for the person to scoop the popcorn, right?
True.
So
And like post-COVID movie theater reopening, I think is going to be a very atypical scenario.
It's just gonna be like, yeah, like we know ahead of time we need to make, and I mean they won't make like 500 bags beforehand, but they'll make like 50 so that they can give out 50 while they make the next 50. Or
Yeah.
They can estimate how many batches or whatever they're gonna have to pull through.
Okay, so you're on board with the ordering popcorn ahead of time.
I don't like waiting in line.
Okay.
Like for me, COVID has been all about ordering my food ahead of time, like in a group or like by myself. Like I call ahead. I want to show up and get my food.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to have to wait in line.
That's fair.
I don't have to wait. I don't want you to tell me it's gonna take 10. I mean, like if it happens, it happens. But like for the most part, it doesn't. So I've become very, very, very anti-wait in line.
I will say the surge in businesses' capabilities to handle e-commerce has been a huge plus. You've obviously benefited with Shopify and Etsy, and Austin has Square and some of those other things. Like in the context of the competition, we've definitely seen it, but in real life too, that it's so convenient now. When it used to be like there are some places you'd have to call them like 3 times because no one would ever answer the phone.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk in and place my order and go sit in my damn car. Like, so that has been good to see.
Yeah, there's pretty much no restaurant now where you can't like order ahead of time at this point.
Yeah. I mean, like my shot appointment.
Or yeah, like things
The
like
pharmacy that I went to for that, it wasn't even the CDC like portal for appointments. That pharmacy had its own online store just for this type of thing, which I thought was very cool. So, hopefully that's all here to stay. I can't see a reason why it wouldn't be, but dumber things have happened, I suppose.
count on a global pandemic to advance technology, I guess.
That is true. On the topic of coins, though, I don't know if you guys saw the remarks from the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. They have admitted that Bitcoin and other crypto tokens are a scarce source of value, and that investor protections need to be in place so that people have easier access and more widespread ability to deal in these types of investments in a manner that is deemed safe and effective. So, how much longer before we see like the first crypto ETF or the first crypto mutual fund? Like, this year compared to past years, like I think we've blown the roof off of this at this point, but all of that has happened without any mainstream approvals, without any mainstream productizing. Like, how much longer and how much bigger could this get if that happens? What do we think?
I don't know. Would you want an ETF of crypto? Like, I feel like individual coins are so volatile. Like, it's hard to make a group. Like, that.
Well, and so I think that would be the appeal for an ETF. Like, if you can't buy enough Bitcoin to make it worth your time, however you ascribe that value, but you also are trying to catch the next big thing, it would be a lot more cost effective to just dump your money into an ETF of some sort that has a bunch of different coins than trying to chase them all down yourself.
Maybe.
I mean, that's my opinion on it anyway. I'm sure other people would vehemently disagree, but I feel like for the average person, like not the Robin Hood type, not the Wall Street Bets type, for the average person, I think that's where a lot of the appeal is going to come from because they're not really going to have to think as much.
Oh, I see. They could just be like, I'm just betting on cryptocurrency being valuable.
You're betting on crypto in general. You can look at the prospectus and say, here are all the coins that are in it. Here's the percentage of the ETF that is made up of each coin. Okay, cool. We're done here. Like, that's it. Which I do think has an undeniable appeal to some of those more
that's
traditional, regular investors.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's how, like, 99% of people approach, like, retirement investing, right? Like, they're like, I have my retirement fund that gets contributed to tax-free, and I invest that in safe funds that just are basically, I'm betting on the market growing, so, like, I shouldn't lose, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's all any of this is. You're betting on the market growing. The question is, which part of the market and how heavy are you betting? So this really isn't any different. It's just a different store of value. So would you buy a crypto ETF with your own real money?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like dabble in minor cryptocurrency trading, anyways. Just 'cause
okay.
It's
So
interesting. So yeah, I would buy it.
Okay.
Contribute to that. I guess.
Kyle, would you buy it?
I mean, I guess it maybe takes out a little bit of the concern of like, I don't know. I think so. At least makes it somewhat less, I don't know, freaky for me.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a safety blanket there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like you said, you might see better returns than just buying Bitcoin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part. It's so expensive. Like, you could still put $100 here, $200 there into it because you can buy fractions of coins. But the amount of return on those fractions of coins compared to a coin that's only $10 for a whole one that can still be subdivided, it's an economies of scale type of question. And what do you believe has the most upside, and how are you able to manifest that? Because, yeah, I mean, nobody I know is just going out and dropping $60,000 to buy a Bitcoin. Like, that's not happening. Not in my social circle, anyway. I don't know about you guys, but I'm curious how long it's going to take, though, because I've seen some estimates that say maybe you have a framework for one by the end of the year. Maybe it takes 2 to 3 more years.
Well, who comes up with those? Like, who makes an ETF? Like, how's that one form?
Well, so it would have to be, they would have to put a set of regulatory frameworks in place to govern how you build and trade those specific investments, and then that would have to be voted on as a set of rules and approved. So right now, essentially what happens is coins are out there and you can do what you want to do with them, but they really aren't regulated at all. It's kind of this, I don't like using the term gray area, but it's a gray area. And so it's kind of a live and let live type of situation right now. And so in this case, what they would be talking about doing is putting the same type of investor protections in place for some type of crypto as they would for anything else. If you dabble in futures, if you trade in commodities, like all of these things are regulated by a board, and there are rules in place to protect people from unnecessary amounts of risk, from unscrupulous businesses, etc., etc. Essentially, they're trying to figure out what does that need to look like for this. And obviously, I don't think that there's a consensus answer on that yet either, which is going to be, I think, the hardest part. What does that look like? How do you mitigate unnecessary amounts of risk from the most volatile investment you can possibly buy? I don't know. I don't know how you do that. But then again, if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this video. So that's for somebody else to figure out. It's going to be interesting, though. I also thought it was interesting in the last week that the Coinbase IPO has just absolutely tanked. Which, like, to be...
Surprised?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I thought the initial valuation was pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. I thought it was way overvalued. But I thought, like a lot of other things, the consumer demand for anything that has to do with cryptos and tokens would at least float it for a while. Like, it's been publicly available since the middle of April, and it's down 23.5% almost. So...
Well, I mean, part of it is that Coinbase doesn't offer, just because there's a lot of interest in crypto right now doesn't mean that Coinbase benefits from it. Like, so like Doge, we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Coinbase lets you trade Dogecoin right now still.
I honestly don't know.
I don't think that's on there. So any of that trading, they're not betting from. I know, like, I've seen like people talking about like Binance. I've seen people like there are other coins on there that aren't on Coinbase. So like maybe it is just they overestimated the popularity of their selection or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just thought it would get caught up in irrational consumer behavior like a lot of other things. But not always true.
That is that the people who invest in like the companies like Coinbase are probably pay more attention to the people who just actually buy coins just because.
You're not wrong.
They're concerned about more concrete markers that they just haven't seen.
Yep.
I guess it's the difference between investing in a commodity and investing in someone who sells a commodity.
Yep.
I guess.
It's going to be interesting to follow, though. That's for sure. Going back to our topic of conversation earlier about the folks at Wall Street Bets, though, Kyle, I know that you are an avid follower of the chat over there.
Yeah, I get surprised sometimes. It's funny.
Did you see that they're launching a blockchain-based app to fight market manipulation?
I did, or like I saw like a post about it. I didn't really read it too much, but did you read like the whole post or whatever?
Apparently, the way that it works, I'm looking at the summary again. I saw it the other day and kept the tab open. It's probably when my computer always feels like it's about to explode. I have like 40 Chrome windows open all the time. But essentially, the way that it works is that people who use it will get a certain amount of the token that can be exchanged on the specific blockchain within the app to dictate the investment strategies of people on Wall Street Bets. So if you think an idea is a good one, you would purchase or exchange tokens to show your support for that idea. And then that's how decisions would be made, effectively.
And so everyone...
It's essentially a community voting platform.
Yeah, you vote for it, but you're also trusting that everyone buys what ended up being spit out as the quote-unquote answer at the end of the blockchain or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it's the investment strategy for one person, if it's the investment strategy for the whole forum. I'm not entirely sure how much exposure there is to, how many brokerage accounts or how much money is involved. But it's an interesting concept. I'm curious. I would actually be interested in trying it once it goes live, but I don't know enough about it yet to know when that's happening. So I think that could be fun.
Doesn't surprise me that they started making something like that.
No, I mean, there's no doubt that the things that they have done have forever altered how the marketplace operates. Like, the amount of coordination and open dialogue that they have prompted is not something that we've ever seen before, but it's not going away now.
Yeah, I think there's just definitely a general more awareness awareness that there is a market.
More awareness that there is a market.
Well, I mean, like, everyone was aware that there's a market, but like, I think people were kind of unaware of like how much money can and does change hands every day. Like everyone was like, oh, we're gonna like squeeze, and everyone's gonna become a billionaire and stuff. And it's like, well, like, not everyone becomes like that, but there are people who become like that every day on Wall Street who make massive amounts of money doing stuff, like, and yeah, there are kind of shady rules, that protect you, but also enable other behavior at the same time. So perhaps you should care about that when your local representative discusses these things. Maybe you should show more interest now that that A, it could benefit you greatly if you know how it works, and B, even if it can't benefit you, you should make sure you're not getting screwed at the very least.
Well, and that's the thing. I think people are now more aware of how much they are getting screwed over just because they're not part of
they're aware of
the financial elite group. Yeah.
How much money you can make by doing nothing as long as you had money to
Yeah.
do it, right?
It takes money to make money, and if you have enough of it, you can make quite a bit by doing nothing. Or by making up other ways to make money.
That's the whole appeal of Wall Street bets, is the idea that you can YOLO your money and all of a sudden you're a millionaire. You can live off for the rest of your life. Like, some people do that, except it's not a YOLO for them because they have the funds to just be like, I'm going to drop this level of a bet, essentially.
Yeah.
A bet. And that's all it is.
Yeah. Just wild.
Makes your salaried life, makes you question why you work, X hours a week sometimes.
I think more than anything, it just makes me question how some people manage to find luck and other people don't. So I firmly believe to a certain degree you make your own luck, right? Some of it you have no control over. You win the Powerball, there's no way. Like, that's... You have the luck or you don't. But like other things like this, I think the more you pay attention and the more you try to put yourself in the right spots, you can create some amount of luck. And that's from somebody who works in gambling and hospitality. So, there you go.
Nice.
Well, I mean, if you want to be cynical about it, you can create your own luck when you engage in practices like insider trading, which is how a lot of people make money. Like, right? Like, you're creating your own luck when you know that something is going to happen and it will cause the price of something to react in a way that will benefit you. Or if you know...
I mean, you're also committing a felony at that point, but...
You are, but that is creating your own luck. And you wonder why certain people are so accurate. You could be like, well, they could just be very lucky. Or at some point, they're creating their own luck in some way. Maybe it is the legitimate way. Maybe they just do the research. They have the formula. They know they are the person who's figured out how the stock market just works. Maybe they are that person. But, maybe they're not. I'm not saying all of them are. I'm certain there are good ones. I'm certain there are some that are not.
Yeah. As there is with anything, there are good and there are bad.
Yeah.
Pretty wild, though. I hope it works. I'm curious. I want to see what it's capable of. But anyway, I digress. On the topic of making your own luck, though, I was looking at my portfolio that I opened when I first went to college. Man, some of that stuff, like, I did not have a lot when I started that, and so the percentages are a bit deceptive, but, like, some of them are up, like, 700% since, like, 2013. So, like, to your point about making your own luck, like, would most people have closed their savings account and put it all in the stock market? Probably not. Like, was that a smart thing to do? Probably not. But if you have a method, there is a way to make luck out of that.
That's true.
So, anyway. But yeah, it's like $200 in this stock and $150 over there. Like, it's a bunch of really, really small things because that was all that I had. But that was where I started, and it got me hooked, and here we are. So
it's enough. You could rebuy your first home now. Your first RV home.
You mean the RV that I just sold because I never use it anymore?
Yeah. So then you have an actual permanent house.
Yes, I have a permanent house now. I did not make enough in that portfolio to rebuy this house, though. The real estate market down here is too ridiculous. That would not happen. That would not happen. Oh my. What a delightfully wide-ranging conversation we've had tonight. Closing thoughts from everybody before we wrap up. Like we talked about earlier, kind of a quiet week one. I expected a little bit more than 2%. But the market was also really, really volatile this week, so I'm also kind of surprised we didn't all lose money.
Well, I think we well, I guess Kyle doesn't have crypto, but I personally would have a lot higher return. Because I had 3 coins essentially that got to double digits.
They popped, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm at 2.5%. That's because pretty much all my stocks did not do well this week for me personally. It was not a great week for me.
Yeah, so for the month, DraftKings is down 14.5% for me.
For the month, in 8 days?
In 8 days. It has completely eroded all of its net gain since February in a week.
I think part of that is because regulation has been slowed down. Or not regulating, but allowing them.
It's been slowed down, and their earnings call was a little bit of a disappointment.
Well, I think COVID was not good for them because stadiums closed down. The sports leagues were all we gotta deal with COVID. We don't want to talk about adding gambling or whatever any of that. That is all taking a backseat to just getting the sport played.
But see, since those things have happened, the state of Florida has some stuff on the books now. The state of Arizona has stuff on the books. Washington is set to open their first location in the fall of this year. It's the momentum is there for the long term. I guess there's just enough negative headwind and sentiment right now that they haven't priced that in to the extent that I think they probably should have.
Well, I think once teams start talking about sports betting, the average person will be very interested in that.
It makes it a lot more appealing of a buying opportunity with my own actual money, though.
Yeah.
Buy the dip. Again, this is not investment advice. Read the disclaimer. Not advice, but the DraftKings dip is very tempting. But yeah, I mean, to your point, outside of my 2 coins, I have 3 stocks that are in the positive for the month, and all of them but one is less than 1 whole percentage point.
Yeah, I have Microsoft at 0.06 and Boeing at 0.6 for the month.
Yeah.
Everything else is not a number I want with that.
Kyle, if it makes you feel any better about some of the positions that you're currently losing on, my pie-in-the-sky bet on Canadian Solar is now down 29.75% since February. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. That Tesla is minus 20% for us all the time too right now. That's not good.
17.5 is what I'm looking at.
17.5.
Which is still not great. That's obviously not good.
Mine's minus 20. I must have bought it at a different time than you.
You must have.
I think. Yeah, minus.
So Kyle, you're not alone. Everybody's got the 1 or 2 really, really ugly positions that they don't want to look at. But it's going to be an interesting month, for sure. Especially now that we've got so many different sentiments with reopening and vaccines and states going on the warpath about do we keep unemployment benefits? Do we cut unemployment benefits? There's going to be a lot that has to be taken into account with all of this. It's probably the most complicated scenario we're going to have to navigate of all of the months that we've dealt with so far. But that's what makes it fun. At least for people like me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. Yeah. That's all I've got for today. Anybody making any moves this week?
I think I'll probably pop Starbucks. Well, okay, depending on some of the info or
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just like pop either Starbucks or maybe Honeywell off, and then see what I do from there. I'm not sure. I don't have any really targets that I'm like looking to get, like any of the cryptos that I'm currently looking to get into. Honestly, I don't know enough to like really to say right now. But if I do make a move, then it's probably Starbucks or Honeywell that I get rid of.
Okay.
Right now.
Lock in some gains.
Yeah.
Keep trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
You two are relatively close year long, aren't you?
No, because I saw that minus like.
Oh, that's right, because of
1%
GameStop.
Out of the gate. Out of the gate, I was down 20% off GameStop almost. It was like 17 at one point. It was pretty bad.
I mean, you've made it back to -10.
Yeah, I've just gotten back into the single digits again. I was back in the single digits at one point last month from Shopify, and I didn't sell, and then it tanked. Then I went back up to like -11. Now I'm edging back into the 9s.
Progress. That's what matters.
Shopify and eBay at the end of last month.
Not fun. Not fun at all. Okay, one final question before we depart for this week's video. We have to call shots on Elon Musk's SNL appearance. Does Doge go up because of his appearance, or does Doge go down? You got a 50-50 shot here. Which side are you taking?
Oh man.
I'm on Doge goes up.
Okay.
On Doge goes up, and companies related to him go down. That's my bad.
All right.
I would say.
I feel like it depends on how much he mentions it. I feel like if he mentions it once or twice, it's good. I think if he hammers it to death, it actually is bad.
Okay, so you're placing the over under on Doge mentions at like 2.5. If it's more than 2.5, it's probably not good.
Like, his main joke, then no one takes it seriously, right? And then like people lose interest, and they're like, oh, it's just like some billionaire dude's meme. I feel like if he makes one joke about it, like that excites the community.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make like the average person be like, okay, I get it. You like Doge.
Yeah.
Doge.
So it just plummeted, actually.
Oh, did it?
That gives me a higher chance of it going up, right? Because it plummeted.
Yeah, it was at, like, a minute ago, it was at 63, now it's at 53.
I guess it is technically on right now, is it not? So, for those of you watching, we filmed this on Saturday nights because the week has been completed. I do think it is on right now, so we might be getting a sneak peek real time at Elon Musk's impact on Doge. Very interesting. Still ridiculous. In 12 months, it has gone up 23,739%.
Yep.
And it's currently at 52 cents.
Meme investments, and we're just like, wow.
It's just hard for me to fathom 23,000% of, like, monetary amounts that are that small.
Yep.
Like, I'm not that good at math. That just hurts. I can't do those ones. Okay. Well, since Kyle and I cheated and we're looking at Doge while you were talking about it, I'm going to go on the Doge goes down.
I'm on Doge. What does it have to be to technically go up today?
I think it started the day around 60 cents. Let me look at the chart, actually. Hold on 1 second.
It started Saturday. Okay, what time did SNL start today?
I think
It's not for this chart. No, I don't know.
so it's down 17.16 cents today.
What time does SNL start our time? 7?
I thought it started at 8.
8 our time? So at 8 our time, it was at 65 cents. It spiked up very briefly at 8:30 to 70 cents. At 8:35, it went up. It just jumped 5 cents at 8:35, and then it plummeted. back down. So I'm guessing at some point he said Doge. It went up. Everyone sold at that second, and then it went way back down.
And then it cratered.
So I think down wins on that one.
Okay.
He briefly resurrected it.
Briefly.
But
Long term.
Tank the value.
Since we cheated long term and it's currently down, what are we predicting is gonna happen with it?
In the next week,
It's hard to say because it's just been. I feel like it's just gonna hover here. It's trying to break that dollar barrier, right?
yeah, it's definitely in a holding pattern right now.
Well, was there a limit? Okay, I mean, was there a target date on the dollar, or was it just?
It was supposed to go to $1 on 420.
Yeah, that was their like goal or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But now at this point, it's just get it to $1. You know, like that's what the
Yeah.
the
At any point, they will take it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who are like, we'll pump it to the moon, $10, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you can hope for that. But if you get it to $1, bro, I need you taking your money.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm paper-handed, but I don't know. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of paper in my hands, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't believe in it that much long term. Like I said earlier, I have a hard time putting faith in something that started as a joke. But that does not mean that it is not capable of going up and having a perception of value at various points throughout its life cycle. So I'm confident it will go up again, whether or not it's this week or not. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing with all of these coins. So that's what makes some of this so damn hard. Is that it's very difficult to assess. How are those perceptions of value changing? Because a lot of them are based on seemingly random criteria, other than general market sentiment. But anyway, enough about that. Oh yeah, it's
like 50-something cents. Maybe now's the time to buy. You're looking to get in.
yeah, market cap of $72 billion for a joke.
It's a good joke. Most expensive joke in the world right now, probably.
Oh my. Alrighty, guys. I think that's enough of that. So Kyle is potentially moving on in buying a coin in an attempt to get competitive. The rest of us, I think, are holding pat, though I may diversify my Bitcoin position a little bit. But I'll have to think on that one. Gonna be a fun month, though. No doubt about it. Kyle, thanks for the beer money. I will let you know.
For sure.
Kyle, as a recipient of beer money, you also have to let us know what you're gonna do with it. But
I'll let you know what I end up buying for myself.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Take care, guys. Good luck. We'll see you next week.